Hello, greetings from Istanbul, Turkey. This is Ismail Haznedar. We welcome you to our new session, new webinar of Gain Global. Today we will be talking about digital business continuity, and I have a guest from South Africa, Tshepo Thlaku. Tshepo, welcome.
Thank you very much, Ismail. It's a pleasure joining you on this platform.
Thank you very much. I'll give the floor in a few seconds. We'll come back to hear your experience as well as the presentation. Prior to that, I would like to welcome also our guests who are now watching us here live in this session. The chat room will be open, and I will be great and happy if you may introduce yourself, from where you join, what is your business, as well as your interest to this topic. During the session, you may pass your questions to our speaker. I'll be glad to pass these questions to Tshepo and hear the answers during the session or at the end. I see Rania from Lebanon. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll hear more about our friends as well. Tshepo, it's a really great opportunity for me to have you here with us today. I will make a brief introduction and then we'll pass the floor to you with my questions. Tshepo is a founder and CEO of Pulego Technologies, and he joins us today from Pretoria, from South Africa. Is the founder, as well as the Pulego Technologies, an award-winning software development enterprise established in 2009. Has more than 60 years industry experience in the ICT sector. He has managed implementation of ICT for development projects in 16 African countries, served in numerous national, local, and international positions at Junior Chamber International as well. Served as an international board of directors and executive committee member of the organization. Traveled to more than 35 countries throughout the JCI, engaging with young leaders and entrepreneurs. He also was a leader in AIESEC, International Students Leadership and Exchange Program, and was active in football development and in his hometown of Temba in Pretoria. He holds a bachelor's degree in information technology. He's a proud father of two. I'm really thankful to have a great speaker, a friend through JCI World, as well as an entrepreneur. And today our topic will be digital business continuity. We will discuss how small enterprises, businesses can leverage this situation, the digital channel that we are facing more and more during this pandemic situation. And to engage with these digital tools, customers, how we can deliver products more efficiently, how we can have our companies to survive, to sustain during this period. And I'm glad to have a really great speaker for that. Tshepo, welcome once more.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ismail. It's indeed a great pleasure to join you. And hello to everyone around the world. This platform obviously gives us the opportunity to share some of the insights that we have. And thanks to JCI that we already have networks that we can share, insights and information across borders. Thank you very much for inviting me.
I'm thankful for that. How is life nowadays? And I'll be glad to hear a little bit insight about South Africa, how you face with the current pandemic case, an update about that.
Yeah, so the South Africa is just like many other countries going through its tough times. There is measures that are now in place to ease the impact of COVID-19. So from next week, we will be starting with one of the, there's different levels where the economy is slowly being opened up. So next week, Monday, people are looking forward to level 3, which means most of the industries will be opened to operate. So for now, I think the country is doing well. We've had one of the hardest lockdown environments where not even alcohol is allowed to be sold.
Okay.
And alcohol and cigarettes, those are two things.
Oh, it's challenging, especially if you talk about cigarettes as well.
Exactly, and people were also not allowed in sports, religious gatherings, and all that. So some of those things will be opened up next week, and we hope that it will help in recovering the economic activity in the country. So
for you, how was this period? Like, how many weeks you spent like home, and how you spent your time, let's say, during this period?
It's been 2 months already that we've been in a lockdown, and personally, since I'm in the technology space, it becomes a bit more easier when it comes to running a business. But your own social life, gets impacted, and you just have to be patient and stay indoors. And my team is working from home. But we are in one of the sectors that was allowed in a bit earlier to go back to work. But we're taking measures to make sure that our staff is safe. So I'm the only one who comes to the office. The rest of the staff are still working from home. From next week, we'll start bringing in some people. But I think this situation has made all of us. We've always known that technology plays an important role and will change our lives. And I think this opportunity has made us to be, to get into that mode of, people can work from home and they will still be able to deliver. So we've been surviving. So far, so good. No, nothing major that is besides, the fact that business is affected in its operations, but we're okay. We are surviving.
Very good. It was a true learning period as well for adaptation to the digital world, to digital change. I think in our site, this is how we observed. And you have a presentation for that. I will shift to your slides. And meanwhile, we'll leave the floor to you for hearing more about digital business continuity, how you see that concept, and what will be your recommendations.
Okay. Thank you very much again, Ismail, for the opportunity. And I hope things are also well, as we've spoken earlier in Turkey. We have sort of we are in the emerging market, so we probably have to take in some measures as small businesses to survive these conditions. And I can see many of our friends joining us from around the world, including here in South Africa. So today what we're going to talk about is how can you leverage technology to do two key things. One, to interact with your customers. The second one, to transact with your customers. I hope you all have your coffees next to you as we go through the session, because I love coffee. This hour, I call myself a coffee junkie. But for now, we're going to really focus on this session. So we all know we've been in this boat for quite a while, that COVID-19 has had a lot of impact on on society, in our livelihoods, in how we do business. Unfortunately, some businesses that did not have reserves or enough foundation did not survive. So one has to think, what do I then do? So there's a decline in trade. We see less opportunities both in the public and the private sector, because people are not going to offices. Some companies have closed down, and it affects the supply chain, not only within our countries, but at the global level. And to an extent, this period has exposed the fact that in most instances, small, medium enterprises have their own operational and financial vulnerabilities. It is not always possible for a small business, for instance, to have the infrastructure to enable business continuity. So we have all been affected. The fact of the matter is that a reset button has been pushed by Mr. COVID-19 or Miss COVID-19. She has said to all of us, there is a new normal. We have to change the way we do things. We have to change the way we live. So with this reset button done on all of us, as small businesses, we have to survive. Early in February, when COVID-19 was a major issue only in China, so largely it was just at that time, it was only China that had this problem. There was a study done by PwC, which looked at the confidence of CEOs across the world on how well this COVID-19 disrupt the supply chain. And some of the results that came out was that 15%, about 15% of global CEOs, 13.9% from South Africa, and 21% in emerging markets were concerned that COVID-19 will extremely affect supply chain. I'm sure these numbers have changed now. Almost everyone is in agreement that supply chain has been largely disrupted, unless you are in a part of the economy that requires essential service. Now, if you're a big company, you would have a business continuity plan, which would talk about if there's a disruption, whether by whatever means, can I have, do we have insurance that we can activate to be able to survive? Can we move to different offices, or can we deploy certain infrastructure and so forth? But in most cases, small businesses do not have that luxury. Okay? And that's why we would rely in some government relief programs. You may consider, well, maybe I need to downsize my business. You can think about some of the micro enterprises where somebody had a salon or barber doing hair. They had to close down because they can't really operate from there. So basically, it's either downsizing, or you diversify your business, or you completely close down your business. But there's one thing I know about entrepreneurs. Those of us who are entrepreneurs at heart, we never give up. We always try to find opportunities, even in difficult times. And I know that, it might sound cliche, but the fact of the matter is that even if this time was so hard on you, I know even personally, there would be times where you feel like you are really depressed, or you need some assistance to be able to survive, mentally yourself. But as an entrepreneur, you have to find that fire within you to see new opportunities arising. And therefore, we have to look at this environment with a different perspective and apply certain things that will enable our businesses to survive this period, but also do well post COVID-19, because we know that right now we are in a 1.5 year to 2 years period of stringent tightening of our countries. And after that, once either some are talking about a cure, a vaccine, whatever, once those things are in place, then we'll be able to almost go back to normal. But the reality is that it won't be the old normal, but rather the new one. I mean, I was listening to some news the other day. They were talking about a possible vaccine for malaria. Malaria has been on for so many years. So COVID is here to stay. As entrepreneurs, we need to survive. Now, there are some of the things that we can look at now. Consider technology in order for your business to survive. You can ask yourself, how can technology, or what technology do I need in my business? How can I leverage it in a quick and scalable manner? Because you want to survive from today. There's not opportunities for you to generate revenue. So what can you do today, but in a sustainable manner to survive the opportunity? But you must remember that the opportunities that are brought by COVID-19, not all of them are online. You have to also think about offline opportunities. Let's say, for instance, you are running a business that is supplying products, and you have a global reach, a market where you're shipping out your products. But because of the disruption in the transportation of products, perhaps you can start looking at who are the customers closer to me where I can personally deliver products. Obviously, observing all the safety measures of hygiene, social distance, and so forth. So you can also take advantage of some of those offline opportunities that exist. So not everything can be digital. You have to have an open mind when you think about this. But if you have to focus on technology, just remember the technophobia days are gone. You must now have technofomo for your business. You must think about to an extent on, how can I make sure that my business doesn't miss out when it comes to technology innovation or the platforms that are out there, be able to push my business and it can leverage. So technophobia days are gone. Now, this is the approach of integrating technology into your business. I'm proposing, instead of just picking things out, think about your business model first and say, what is the logic of my business? And where am I going to put in technology to gain competitiveness, to survive, and to leverage, become efficient, and so forth. So there's a little video that I want to play for everyone to look. I hope the audio will come out nicely as well.
This is the business model canvas. It's just what Beth and Carl will need to craft a powerful business model, and it can do the same for you. Let's dive in and see how it works. There are 9 essential building blocks that make up any business model. When you get all 9 blocks working together, you'll have answered the fundamental questions any business model must solve. We'll start here with customer segments. These are all the people or organizations for which you're creating value. For each segment, you have a specific value proposition. These are the bundles of products and services that create value for your customers. Channels describe through which touchpoints you're interacting with customers and delivering value. The customer relationships outline the types of relationships you're establishing with your customers and how you're acquiring and retaining them. Pricing mechanisms through which your business model captures value are documented under revenue streams. The key resources show which assets are indispensable in your business model, so you can describe the infrastructure you need to create, deliver, and capture value. The key activities show which things you need to be able to perform well. The key partners show who can help you leverage your business model, since you won't own all key resources yourself, nor will you perform all key activities. Once you understand your business model's infrastructure, you'll also have an idea of its cost structure. Any business model can be mapped this way: 9 building blocks working to reinforce and strengthen each other. But before you make a model for yourself, it helps to see what a breakthrough business model looks like in action. Like this one. Low-cost airlines revolutionized air travel thanks to their disruptive business model. Let's first look at their value proposition. A low-cost airline offers ultra-cheap flights to their main customer segment, budget travelers, by adopting a no-frills policy. And this leads to additional revenue streams, because customers pay for their ticket and additional fees on items like food and drink, priority boarding, and luggage. The airlines save even more money through their choice of channels, selling only through call centers and the internet, making for efficient, if not always convenient, customer relationships that are automated and often impersonal. Okay, that covers the right side of the canvas, the part everyone can see. The left side of the canvas is what's going on backstage. Like their choice of key resources, they reduce maintenance and training costs by using a single aircraft model for the whole fleet. And they only fly to cheap airports where it's cost efficient to land, or where they even get paid to touch down. Planes that do land have quick turnarounds, so they get back in the air earning money as quickly as possible. And they form key partnerships with others in the travel industry, like car rental, hotel, and insurance companies. Finally, under cost structures, all maintenance, training, airport, and call center costs are trimmed to their lowest levels. All of these pieces working together make their fares almost impossible for traditional airlines to compete with. There's nothing superior about these airlines except their business models. They're reaching an entirely new segment of travelers out of reach for traditional airlines. Cutting out costs is pretty exciting, right? But wait, just because it's successful for discount airlines doesn't mean it will work for your idea. Luckily, the business model canvas allows you to iterate many models and test them quickly. Let's get started with your own business idea.
Very good. Mm-hmm. So it's a period that we have to rebuild or redesign once more our businesses through this model as well, correct?
Yes, definitely. So what I'm saying is that before you decide on any technology, look at the logic, because the business model canvas, it's quite a common or it's a well-known model these days. You know, in most cases, you would be required to come up with a business plan. But before you come up with a business plan, you must be able to define the logic of your business. So the business model canvas, through 9 elements, allows you to define what is that logic. So you look at the logic of your business or the business that you want to start and say, where does technology fit in? Okay, you don't jump to use social media for the sake of it. You have to say, does it increase my value proposition? Does it make me reach my customers a lot more easier? If I, for instance, use e-commerce, will it increase my or expand my revenue streams or so forth? So I'm saying you have to consider adopting technology, looking at your business logic. Now, there are 3 components that I'm going to focus on and share ideas in terms of what technologies can you adopt. Now, these 3 areas are customer engagement, delivery of products and services, as well as operational efficiency. The first 2 are the front end of your business, and the last one is about the back end. And these things essentially cover your business model. So when you're talking about customer engagement, we're going to look at how do you leverage social media, the online meeting and webinar space, as well as customer relationship management, CRM. When we look at social media, some of the ideas that come through is that social media provides you the opportunity to take your brand out there. You take it globally, you reach out to people, but you must do it in a smart way, because it is not like an advertising platform. A lot of people go there, I sell this, I sell that, I sell that, and no one is listening. You get surprised. Why are people not responding? It is because social media is about relationships. People go there to see what's happening around the world. People unwind, unless you use business-specific platforms like LinkedIn and so forth. So when you're using social media, if let's say you're having a salon, now your shop is closed, you can share your expertise. You can run, have webinars where you're showing your customers how to take care of their hair, for instance, or show your how relevant your business is to the current environment. And what we're doing now shows the relevance of what Pulego does as a business. So you can leverage it in that way. It can help you to generate new customers. But social media, it's like when you have a story to tell, you post your brief on social media, and the whole story, the bigger story, should be on your website. So it must lead people, lead traffic towards your website. Whatever you post, always have a link either of your website or get people to visit your website to find out more information. The other thing about social media is that it's a platform that you can use to check out on your competitors, on what are they doing, what innovation are they engaging in, whether they're surviving or not. It's always important to be aware what other people are doing. So take it as a key channel of engagement for to reach out to your current or potential customers. Now, the online meetings and webinar space, that is where you can have meetings with your customers. You can generate leads. You can conduct either trainings or workshops, or maybe have your own YouTube channel where you go live and so forth. That, to an extent, is a fantastic opportunity just like now. But what you should do is collect contacts. So don't just do it for the sake of it. Find a way of collecting contacts. That's why sometimes with webinars we have to fill in a form. Then we get your contact details, just like with Crowdcast. I'm sure in the back end there's somewhere where you see who joined in the session, so that at the later stage You can have follow-ups. You can share information. You can share some insights for people to join you or to get exposed to your business a lot more. And those are several tools that can be used either for online meetings or for webinars. These days, you don't even have to wait for a meeting. You can quickly send, there's a customer that our communication is improving such that I just send a message on the meetings on Microsoft Teams chat, and he responds. You know, there's that social engagement that is happening instead of waiting to have our scheduled meetings. The customer relationship management platform, I cannot emphasize this more than enough. The CRM is an important system that every business must have, because it allows you to collect key data of your customers, from who the customers are, where are they based, what services are you providing to them, what contracts do you have with your customers, your invoices, your quotations. And there's a lot of free CRM tools that are out there which you can adopt. And I would encourage, if this is the first time that you're hearing about CRM, please go find out more. And if you already have CRM, start using it, because you're collecting data. Remember, data is today's currency, and therefore you need to know what are you doing with your customers. One of the important things about CRM is that if I'm not in the office, my staff members should be able to pick up any transactions that have happened between us and our customers. They should be able to get information, because of CRM provides you one version of the truth when it comes to your customers. So you can use either the free available tools that are out there. Some of them you pay a small fee, like the Suit CRM, HubSpot, Salesforce, and so forth. Just that if you don't have anything, probably with a tool that is for free. Most of them are on cloud-based, so you can be able to put in your data. But remember, whatever tool that you use, think about how am I going to export my data, because of if it's cloud and tomorrow you decide to adopt a new tool and you have to recapture the entire information, it becomes a bit of a problem. So whatever tool you use, it must allow you to be able to export your data, because the data belongs to you. And there are other tools like MailChimp to keep contact with customers. You can use SurveyMonkey for information and Google Forms. Now, your own company website, you also have to go back and review it if you have one. If you don't have one, always take note of these following points. It must be responsive, because people should be able to consume your website, whether they are on their computer, on their tablet, or on their phone. So make sure that your website is responsive. To make it interesting, share business cases. Show how you have solved problems for your customers. It should not just be about us, services we provide. There should be more life than just general information. People want to see how you can provide value to them. Use videos, use images, have catalogs there. If you want people to pay, you can have a payment channel, but make sure you take a payment channel that is secured, because you don't want to compromise your information of your customers. Now, that was about the engagement part. The second main component is delivering your products and services. Now you're moving them from wherever you are, whether your shop, your house, your office, to the customer. You can consider, it depends on what industry you are in, you can consider using existing e-commerce sites, like the large ones, Alibaba. In South Africa, we have something called Take a Lot, and in Turkey, I'm sure you have different platforms. Those enable you to reach a bigger market. Alternatively, you can turn your website into an e-commerce site, or you can have a mobile application and so forth. So always consider what is the cost and what reach can I be able to get. You can tap on existing platforms. And it's not only e-commerce, but there are apps, like delivery apps. Your Uber, these days, if you're a restaurant, you can tap on Uber Eats. And if, let's say, with a lot of deliveries that are picking up, maybe some of these platforms are looking for providers or drivers or small companies that can be able to help them with delivery of those products. So don't look at only what can I put on other platforms, but also where can I plug in into these opportunities that are coming up as a result of the use of technology and people not being able to go to shopping malls or collect products and so forth. Look at opportunities that will enable you to transact faster. Depending, I mean, if you are a B2B, a company that provides services between business to business, collection of your money will be based either on milestones, on delivery, or so forth. But if you provide into consumers, you know, the quickest way to get your money is they pay online and you deliver the product later. Unlike having to wait for somebody to come to your shop to buy something, and that's one big advantage that being on e-commerce, you get to have that particular advantage. But always think about the risks that are involved, and I would always encourage that your risk must be shared. So if, let's say, you're going to use an e-commerce platform, or you joining in on Uber Eats or whatever, Bolt or whatever other platforms that exist out there, take a lot of them. You must remember that there are costs that are involved, there are risks that are involved. Basically, as a small business, you are now in the back room. Take a lot, or Alibaba is the one that is in the front end. Okay? So your brand is not visible when you're using e-commerce. That's why you need to tap into social media. That's why you have to have your website in order so that you can always show your face. So you don't just walk into these platforms. You think about, okay, if I'm not going to be visible on this e-commerce platform, how do I find ways of being visible and still drawing customers to my business? There are so many platforms that are out there that you can join in order for you to take your product from yourself to other people. You can even use WhatsApp, a simple WhatsApp, enable WhatsApp people to order from you directly. It doesn't always have to be like these complicated platforms. Even the simple ones that are out there and available can be tapped on. The last important component is the back end of your business. Okay? Your own efficiency. What technologies can you adopt to improve your own efficiency? People are working from home, they're not able to come to the office, and I suspect that we will have employees being at home or working from home going forward than ever before. So you have to put in tools that enable team collaboration. For instance, we're doing some project in a JCI project, and I was showing them how can we use Trello, right?
Trello, I was going to say, very efficient tool. Yeah.
Exactly, to track who's doing what and where are they, to have places where people can easily access documents, they can report on their projects. You can even provide trainings or manuals and create your own knowledge management repository for your staff to access information, and basically automate your business as much as possible. Tools like Dropbox, Google Drive, Trello, Flock, Microsoft Teams, your WhatsApp is there, your Slack is there. These tools have been existing all along.
Yeah.
And therefore it should be easy to adopt them. It is just that in most cases we were, it was like a by the way thing.
They were not main tools, let's say. You're right.
Exactly. So now, definitely, now they are mainstream. Hello, Yogesh from India. Thanks for the message. And now, whatever you do though, so we looked at three main components. How do I engage my customers? Secondly, how do I deliver my products and services? But thirdly, how do I become efficient in the back room in order to survive this environment? The question is, how can you sustain whatever technologies that you put into your business model. So don't do what we call a digital lipstick, which means for a now solution which is not sustainable. Think about stuff that is agile, sustainable, and scalable. So if I take on a CRM platform for my business, or if we are going to use Trello, for instance, to track work tasks of staff members, make sure that it's not just for when people are not in the office, and when we get back, when employees get back into the office, you start you get back to your old ways. Get into the new normal and make sure that there is sustainability of whatever that tools that you're adopting in your business. Systematize your business. There's a difference between digitizing and systematizing. By systematizing, I mean that you put in systems holistically, whether digital systems or not, in your business. Because if I fall sick tomorrow and I need to be hospitalized, my business should continue operating. And it's only when you have systems in place that staff members will be able to continue, So always put in systems in place. Make sure that you leverage your data. You are collecting data of people, their contacts, their websites, and all those things. You take the data and say, how can it advance my sales? How can it improve my own efficiencies? How can it improve my finances? And in most of these tools that are available out there, they provide something called data analytics. So there will be reports. Do read those reports. I'm sure many of us don't go and read the impressions of our social media pages, for instance, to see how many people are you reaching. How many new people are coming into your...
What is the profile, from where they come? Correct?
Exactly.
A lot of information is there.
That's the information that can give you... It's basically insight that you can use for your own business. Always make sure that you are disciplined. So once you adopt the technology, use it and never go back. And think about how do I... technology should be your priority. But the other important thing, depending on your industry, look at what are the standards and what is innovation and changes that are happening there. There will be regulations that are coming in most of these industries. For instance, if you adopt what do you call this, where you facial recognition, right? If you use facial recognition for your business, you always have to be in the lookout of what policies will come out over time that will affect my business. So don't adopt things that over time will affect your business in a negative way. So just make sure that whatever that you do, it's genuine. The last point that I want to mention is that in deciding what technologies to adopt in your business, think about the cost, think about how easy is it to learn. If it's a complicated and you're going to need 3 months of training, maybe it's not worth it. Think about the security element. Am I exposing myself or my customers to, cybercrime? Always think about that. The privacy and data protection. So if I use a certain platform, will that, for instance, let's say there's somebody who has an e-commerce platform that you want to join in. Go into their terms and conditions to see what are the limitations on privacy and data protection. Because I can launch a platform, all of you join in to sell your products, but in the back end, I'm harvesting your data and using it for something else. So always consider these things and make sure that you read the fine print of those platforms to make sure that you don't expose your business to risk. Data ownership is important. As I've mentioned, if you take in a CRM system or whatever tool that you use, you should be able to export it, whether to Excel, whether to PDF, because that's your data, right? The system that you are using are just platforms. So always think about the ownership of data. It must be easy to implement and there must be customer support, especially if you're paying a fee for it. These days, in most tools, you have the freemium model, and then you'll have like a light version, and a more advanced and enterprise version, and you pay a fee. When you decide on what technology to do, always look at their business model. So how are they going to charge you? On top of that, whether there is customer support. If you pay, you must get customer support, because you don't want to be stuck and not be able to use the tool just because you don't have support. My last point would be that just remember that free software, it's free for freedom, meaning there is a freedom of the data that you have there. You can change the software and so forth. It's not always free as in free beer. I don't know if you get my point. Free beer, I give you beer, you drink it. There's no any
obligations or responsibilities.
There's no obligations and so forth. But if you're thinking of your business, you have to always think about the underlying cost. Okay, fine, it's a free piece of software, but I'm going to need somebody to be able to install the application or to configure the application. That's a cost. I need to host it somewhere if it's not on the cloud. Maybe you need to spend some money somewhere. So think about these things holistically, not just take a tool just because of it's free.
So this means that then, in order to have that continuity, we will need to have a professional approach then.
Yes.
Because this digital will be a mainstream, as you mentioned.
Yes.
So to have our business surviving, sustaining during this period, we will need also to have a professional approach.
Yes.
But it does not mean that you are expert on that area. So especially for new startups or SMEs, small medium enterprises, we used to say, accountants are important for companies, lawyers are important for companies, and now digital advisors, let's name it like that,
yes.
or ICT technicians will be crucial then for SMEs in current and incoming days.
Yeah, definitely. And you have to be careful of who you choose to give you advice. Basically, technology people are becoming brokers to an extent. Over time, there will be like the middleman between the different technology platforms that are out there. Or if it's their own platform, they will always obviously choose to push their own solution. So from time to time, I offer advice to small businesses on what technologies to adopt, and we use this kind of sessions to be able to share some information. But what is important, Ismail, is that irrespective of who do you get your advice from, take some time to read and to compare what is available out there.
Yeah. Okay. Very important.
That's very important. Don't say, "Oh, this technology thing is not, my thing," and Tshepo, because he's in the technology space, I'll trust his sort of advice. Yeah. Go beyond, spend some time and read, and most of the technology tools that are available, there will be business cases and there will be demo sites where you can be able to see whether this will work for me or not.
Meanwhile, how our audience or any interested people may reach you, from where they can contact you? Can we share contact information? Yes.
Perfect. Yes, definitely. Yeah. You can share my contact information. I'm available on Twitter. My handle is my surname, Thlaku. LinkedIn, you can search my name and you'll be able to find me. And that is my business, what do you call it, the email address. So my company is, if you see there, that's the website of my company, but it's easier with social media and WhatsApp as well.
Very good. I'm thankful for very valuable information that you have shared, Tshepo. This is really crucial to have insights from an expert, from the one that comes from that area. I have a few questions. Meanwhile, I would like to greet once more our audience, the participants who watch now us live. I see some friends from South Africa, from Turkey, from Lebanon, then from India. Thank you for joining us today, being a part of this session. We welcome your questions as well. If you have, we'll be glad to direct them to Tshepo. The first one that I have will be you traveled to different countries, including more than 30 countries in Africa as well. So can you give us an update about how you see the entrepreneurship ecosystem in this area, how the South Africa as well as African countries are moving in terms of new enterprises, how you see that one?
Yeah. I think in most emerging markets, so Africa, maybe South America, the ecosystem doesn't have as much, for instance, angel investing as we have in Europe. But it is an agile environment. We are sort of like, for instance, a mobile first market. In most cases, entrepreneurs will have to start running a business, in some cases, without even a laptop. Right? So you can use a mobile phone. I know a guy who wrote a business plan completely out of a feature phone. You remember the feature phone?
Yeah.
Not even a smartphone. He wrote a business plan using a feature phone. So the African market has a lot of opportunities. Entrepreneurs have a lot of opportunities because we are adopting the latest technology, so to speak. I get surprised when you go to places like Japan and you still have to fax stuff, right? Or in the US, they still use checks. But mobile money in most Southeast Asia, in Africa, as well as in other emerging markets, is a common thing because it's out of necessity. So even in technology, products, services, whatever that you provide as solutions, you have to think about necessity. They must meet the needs of the customers. Either you're creating efficiency for your customers or you're solving a problem for your customer. And within this environment, whatever technology that you adopt or whatever technology that you create must always do those two key things: efficiency or solve a problem for your customer. So I think there's a lot of opportunities that exist in the African market.
Thank you for that. We have a question from Yogesh Chandrak, and the question says that think about post-COVID-19, will there be more focus on digital marketing and business through digital platforms? So what about SME sector, which cannot invest much, and how will they cope up with the big change in business style? We would be glad to hear your opinion and recommendations.
Yeah. So for small businesses, we have to use, in most cases, what is available out there. So for instance, big businesses, it's easy for them to pay for adverts on YouTube, on Facebook and the likes. That's why you have to be a lot more creative in marketing to using free tools that are available. Tell a story, as an example, of how you solved a particular customer's problem or how you've satisfied their need. When you deliver a product to a happy customer, take a picture, have them write a review for you, and you share this using your own social media platforms. And because of COVID-19, there will be a lot more tools that will come on the market, challenging the likes of Facebook and Google and so forth. So I would say look at freely available tools, but don't just say what you provide and how much you provide it for. Be creative by telling a story. Do short videos and use your own networks to expand your message, because let's be honest, business is about people. I would trust you, Ismail, being in Turkey than anyone else in Turkey, because I know you. So use your networks, and if somebody refers you, make sure that you do them justice by delivering quality to the customer, and therefore it sort of like expands your own network. So I would say small business have to be smart in using the freely available technologies that are out there, or the low cost ones, depending on what your needs are, and just keep in touch with your customers. Find a way to always remind them that you still exist.
To utilize the network was really great, an example. Same applied for us. I had some friends and relatives, cousins in the business who were traveling to South Africa, as you mentioned, vice versa. your first contact for them, welcoming them in person, and helping somehow guiding them. This was very crucial for SMEs. Would be a good opportunity to utilize this business networking sites, and nowadays maybe more and more with digital tools. Before the final remarks, I will have a question regarding your recommendations to entrepreneurs. You are an entrepreneur. More than 10 years ago, you initiated your enterprise, and this journey is not easy. So how was for you, and what are some tips, some clues that you may share with our audience?
Yeah, so it's a tough environment, I must say. And what I have been doing since this lockdown started is I've been thinking, how do I get my brand out there? And this is probably the 4th webinar that I'm doing, and that's basically a way of surviving. And the other important thing is that small businesses have to be learning organizations. I always emphasize to my team, we have to go out and learn on what is available. And whatever tools that we adopt in the business, we must take time to go through the tutorials. Don't just adopt something and use it without understanding how it works. So we've been spending a lot of time learning new tools, even if we are in the IT industry. We are spending time connecting a lot more easier and sharing information. I mean, you don't have to save information on your laptop or something. Make it available and easily accessible for your staff members. So basically empower them to be able to still do their work. One thing that I've noticed, Ismail, is that the cost of software is going up. It's escalating. So some of the free tools. So if there are free tools that you think are helpful for you, adopt them. Remember, Google used to give your business up to 10 emails for free. Right now, I think they've reduced it to 5. Or if you use their domain on their platform, you start paying $10 per user. So all these softwares or the licenses that you need for softwares are becoming expensive over time. So data is becoming a large cost in most businesses. And hopefully, if in your country you have good data, then if the infrastructure is then that's amazing and great. Software is becoming a large cost, but also you probably would be thinking, I'm sitting in an office that can fit about 6 people now, and I'm the only guy sitting there. So the question is, do I still need to keep this space?
This is the question. Yeah, we all have nowadays.
Should I downsize and all that? I think this opportunity has demanded out of all of us to think about surviving. Because I had somebody say, I think it was Simon Sinek, that business is not a sprint, but a marathon. So you have to keep running and surviving rather than winning a short race. So always remember that I'm in a marathon, and this is always whatever I do must extend my route to continue running. And that's one thing that has occupied my mind, to say, how do I keep this business, keep extending the runway for my business to survive.
This is really very valuable. The life of an entrepreneur is truly a marathon as well, long term. And nothing happens within a day or night. Requires trials, errors, to step up again, to continue. This was actually one of the main reasons why also we initiated the Gain Global site, because there are different stakeholders. Someone comes with a know-how, with ready to support. Someone comes with tools ready to support as a consultant in professional way. And there are people who are looking for co-founders, people who are looking for new markets, and sometimes people who are looking for new enterprises to invest, like an investor, as you mentioned, like an angel investor. There was a lack of networks, especially as we are experienced. You travel to countries. You managed a total area where you have plenty of national organizations. You don't see this kind of enterprise networks where you can connect with each other. I hope in that terms, in Gain Global side, we can contribute. This was main purpose, and I'm thankful. So it bridged us, put us together now in this screen with that experience that you have in entrepreneurship, myself as well, to discuss something that is relevant with today's discussions. I welcome everyone to be a part of it, and it's an open platform so that we can open floor to our friends and to experts who would like to say something, to share something, to talk about their projects. We'll be glad to hear more and more. In last 3 years in total in Turkey, we had chance to expand to 15 cities. And here's a really great number of new projects, new ideas. See this journey to become to turn to an enterprise, to a new business, and with some investment, with some mentoring, and hopefully now we can expand that one with all friends network around the world. Thank you very much, Tshepo, for very valuable information you shared. It's a special moment, but more than that, very valuable content that you brought today with us. I'll be glad to hear your final remarks for our audience.
So thank you very much. And I think that a platform like yours provides entrepreneurs over time. When you think about expanding it, you're saying, you're considering different regions where you can have entrepreneurs joining in. It's sort of like the new what you call business chambers. So physically, people would have to go and join a business chamber in person, attend meetings and so forth. That will be shifting towards platforms like yours, having online capabilities to be able to engage and do business together, irrespective of where you are around the world. So I'm sure business chambers are also thinking, how do we survive? So you have the likes of business incubators who will have the brick and the mortar. Business incubation now has to move towards the online space where entrepreneurs and startups
to become digital. Yeah, you're right.
To become digital and do their offering online. And I can see there was one question quickly that what are the websites for networking? And in most cases, I recommend LinkedIn, but don't just go there and say to people, this is my business, this is my profile. Share a story, because people will pay attention and they are likely to share your post if you are sharing a story, whether either be it a video or some text that is relevant to them. That way, they can be able to share on as well with their own network. So LinkedIn is one of those. Let us take advantage of whatever tools that we have. Let us remember that we always have to tap in our inner strength as entrepreneurs to survive. It's a tough condition, but we can all survive. Most businesses can be able to find a way. Those who have not started, just get into it. Great. Start now. There's no time to delay. You just start now, because there will never be a better time. Don't say, because of COVID now I can't start my business. Hey, it's about how do I take advantage of the current environment to be able to get my business going. And this has been a great platform for us to share information. I'm looking forward for us to look at further collaboration. How do we get more entrepreneurs in South Africa and other African countries to become of this bigger network? And let's have virtual investment and business incubation, business acceleration. And that's what most entrepreneurs need, because they will be working from home anyway.
Very great. Really appreciate. Thank you very much, Tshepo. The video will be soon ready for replay, and also we will put the video in YouTube. We'll be glad to ask our audience as well to share with your network. so that we expand also our audience related with Gain Global. I thank you once more for your valuable time, for your precious information content you put today with us. I thank you to our live attendees, and hopefully we see each other soon somewhere around the world. Please take care.
Hopefully soon. Hopefully soon we'll
so.
see you guys and see each other again. Thanks to everyone who attended the session. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. Take care.
Okay. Thank you.